What's up, folks? Welcome into HuPAC Talk, where today we find ourselves just around the corner from football season. With that in mind, I'd like to do a season preview today, and who better to do it with than our two respected NFL insiders, DC and Jon. So thanks for coming in, guys.
Good to be here.
Glad to be here.
Likewise. I was going to have glizzas ready for us to chow down on today, but unfortunately, I ran into some logistical difficulties, so, we're just going to have to make do with what we've got. I've been calling them glizzos, and I apologize for that because, though entertaining, it's not quite the correct terminology, so just some clarification there. The best way to do these previews, as I've often noted, is kind of to begin or start at the end. So we're going to do that today. I asked these guys beforehand to give us their basically predictions for how the NFC and NFC fields respectively, NFC and AFC fields respectively will play out at the end of the year. And without further ado, let's get into that. So DC, can we get your predictions for the playoffs from the 7th seed all the way through the 1?
So you just want me number, team. Do you want any further
Three,
analysis?
Three wild cards. We'll get into the analysis afterwards.
Alrighty. So a lot of thought put into this. A lot of heartache, not actually, but coming in with your 7 seeds, sneaking in the last week of the regular season, we have the Green Bay Packers. The 6th seed will be your San Francisco 49ers. 5 seed, Washington Commanders. 4 seed, Detroit Lions. 3 seed, Los Angeles Rams. 2 seed, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the 1 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. So in the 5 spot, we've got Washington.
Yeah.
So we don't see a sophomore season regression for Jaden Daniels, just building off of his impressive run at the end of last year.
I was actually talking about this with a friend a few days ago. And I said Jaden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump. Washington's going to have a sophomore or regression this year. But a regression in their division from where they were last year doesn't spell disaster for them. So I still think they get into that top wild card spot with relative ease.
Gotcha. And I noticed in the 4th spot, you've got Detroit.
Yeah.
So Detroit obviously saw the departure of both Aaron Glenn to the Jets and Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears, who we will be covering in much detail later. But obviously, I'm guessing they're going to be winning the division as you have them right now. But what we see is a little bit of a regression to the mean for them. And I'm guessing that's not attributed to their personnel because they're getting a lot of guys back on defense who they saw injured at the end of last year. Instead, you're pointing mainly to the fact that, their coordinators left, and it might take some time for them to get back on track.
It's like you read my mind.
All right, fantastic. Sorry, who did you have in the 2 seed? Was that Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay.
All right, Tampa Bay. I'm guessing it's really as simple as them winning the South. I'm guessing you're not buying all the hype surrounding Michael Penix and Bijan Robinson in Atlanta.
No.
All right.
Michael Penix did not impress me last year. Like, everyone's like, Kirk's gone. They're bringing in this new phenom. They were aggressive with him in the draft last year, 2024, that is. And he played, and I just was like, okay, yeah, obviously he's good in college. I really respect the guy. He's very durable, but I just didn't think he's that amazing. I see one weapon that he has in the receiving core being Drake London. I don't really buy the hype. And Tampa Bay people are like, Baker's going to regress. And I'm like, he can regress and his receiving core is still elite. They have Mike Evans posting consistently good stats every year. Chris Godwin set to return. They bring in Mbuka in the draft. I don't see, and then Bucky Irving, the running back. So I think they're just going to kind of run that division pretty easily.
Yeah, I tend to agree for sure. We see a team, Baker has shown what not being in Cleveland can do to a guy. He's really kind of resurrected his career down there in Tampa. He's got a plethora of weapons at receiver and running back now. I see little reason to see really any other team winning the NFC South, especially the fact that the other teams in it, you're dealing with Carolina. Obviously, that's a train wreck there. What's the other team in that division?
The Panthers.
No, we already cited
Oh,
them.
sorry, I missed that. The Saints.
Oh yeah, Saints, and the Saints will be worse than the Panthers.
They're
this year
terrible.
because they don't have a quarterback. I saw their quarterback room. It's Jake Hayner, Tyler Schuff, the guy they just drafted, who's like 28 years old or something. I don't even know what's going on there. And then we got Tyler Schuff, we got Jake Hayner, and then Spencer Rattler, who was just absolutely just garbage last year. I mean, that was a train wreck. Okay. Anyway, moving on from the woeful NFC South, where it appears we have a pretty clear favorite. I'd like to shift gears now and roll up to the NFC East, where we have our defending Super Bowl champions from Philly. Is it as simple as them running away with the East? You have them obviously in the 1 seed. Do you think it's going to be a little bit close with Washington? Do you think Dallas makes a push? What are your thoughts there?
I think Dallas is better than they were last year, but I really know nothing about their head coach. And in the NFL, it seems to me when I know nothing, I tend to be negative rather than positive.
Sure.
The Cowboys, everyone says they're America's team, and I'm like, well, then America picked a crappy team.
Right.
I don't think they're America's team because I don't think Americans are that stupid.
Darn right.
This might be controversial, but I could see the Giants beating out the Cowboys for the 3rd spot in that division. That's really irrelevant, though. We're not talking about non-playoff teams. Commanders, I think they'll challenge. I think they'll probably split with the Eagles. Okay. I think the Eagles will probably still clear the division by at least 2 games.
Right. And as you notice, so you do see maybe a sophomore regression for Jaden Daniels this year. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, though, they did win 12 games last year. Regression, maybe that only trims 2 games off. That's still going to be good for playoffs.
Yeah, or maybe they win 11 games and he doesn't have as amazing stats.
Right. Well, obviously, we had some difficulties with Terry McLaurin holding out. I don't know whether that's going to lead to further difficulty. That's definitely something to keep an eye on, though, I think, going forward. Obviously, they've got good weapons at running back, and they showed that down the stretch last year. Philly didn't really lose anybody, kept the staff intact. They seem to really just cruise throughout the offseason, won the title last year, no major departures. Your thoughts on them? You think they're just going to cruise? What's the win total for them?
15.
Wow. All right. Yeah, and that's playing in an NFC East, which
and that's aggressive.
Yeah,
like maybe it's 14, but I think they're going to do the exact same thing that they did through last year.
Right.
Just keep the formula going, but that might end up tripping them up at the risk of spoiling my future predictions.
And people forget that team won 14 games last year. They were just overshadowed by the excellence of all the teams in the NFC North, Minnesota, Detroit, even Green Bay to a certain extent. Speaking of Green Bay, you have them, I noticed, in the 7 slot. You do see them sneaking into the playoff field. Do you think that's with relative ease, or do you think they're really in a dogfight with other teams down the stretch to claim that final wild card spot?
I was already concerned about this, and then I was listening to a podcast today that highlighted how bad their defensive back room is. And I think Jordan Love is going to just have off-the-wall stats this season because he is going to have to pass the ball to keep in the game every single week.
Right.
We're going to see McManus kicking game-winning field goals 2 or 3 games this season. He's been excellent in training camp so far. It's going to be win 2, lose 1, lose another one, win 2, just fighting every single week. And I think 10 wins, they're going to get win 10 last week of the season to sneak into that last spot.
All right. Love to hear it. Obviously, as a Green Bay fan myself. The battle out west, I think, really comes down to the health of 2 players. Christian McCaffrey for San Fran and Matt Stafford for LA.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Stafford is 37 years old. He's had difficulties recently with this aggravated disc in his back. He's had to see a back specialist, I think, twice in the last week. You're still very high on LA. What's the reasoning for that?
Because all Stafford has to do, regardless of how much his back hurts, is chuck the ball in the air somewhere, and either Puka or Devontae is going to catch it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And obviously...
And they just re-signed Kyren Williams. He can just hand it off, requires minimal back effort. I'm not too concerned about it.
Right, and I think their young stalwarts on defense really showed up down the stretch last year, Jared Verse and company.
I mean, people forget, but they almost beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. That would have
divisional round,
yeah, and that would have
that was in Philly.
NFC Championship game. In the snow, it was an ugly game, but they played them tough.
Yeah, for a team playing in SoFi, that's no easy feat. I think I think LA, they're definitely a team to keep an eye on. I think they have superior weaponry to San Fran. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey appears to be completely healthy, but there's a history there.
He appeared to be completely healthy last year.
Okay, well, in that case, though you do still have San Fran in the sixth
Yeah.
seed. Brandon Ayuk still there. Jawan Jennings, so kind of ascended last year. Do you think the defense keeps them afloat? Is it Brock Purdy doing his thing? What are your thoughts there?
I don't really have any good reasons. It's just gut.
Kyle Shanahan knows
I
what he's
just
doing.
felt like the 49ers are going to somehow have enough, whether it be McCaffrey willing them to victory or Jawan Jennings somehow coming out of nowhere to win games for them, just kind of getting it done to get into the wild card round.
Right. Well, that's definitely an interesting take. I think it's probably safe to say that those two teams are the clear front runners out west. Obviously, we've got Sam Darnold and Mike McDonald out there in Seattle. Does Darnold look like the Darnold we saw for the first 15 games of last year, or does he look like the absolute blaze that was the last two games where he just went up in flames?
That's John's boy, Sammy D. Um, he doesn't have Kevin O'Connell anymore. It's going to be better than he was with the Jets. It's going to be worse than he was with the Vikings.
I think that's a safe bet. Obviously, Mike McDonald, he's a defensive-minded coach. So
He has Jackson Smith-Njigba, excellent wide receiver, really broke out last year, but against the Rams and 49ers, I don't really see too much of a bright future for them this
I
year.
mean, you had Garrett Wilson in New York, so it's like,
Yeah.
that's a fair point. Okay, yeah, that's good. Finally, your last division champ, Detroit. You definitely see a bit of regressions, though. Still, obviously winning a tough NFC North. What are your thoughts on them?
I think like they have really good players.
Yeah, personnel.
Jared Goff is an excellent quarterback, system quarterback. He drops back, he hands the ball off. He drops back, he finds Amon-Ra or any other of their Jameson Williams. I can't even remember Tim Patrick. They just have like random. He's got Sam Laporta as a tight end. And when all else fails, you've got the two-headed monster of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. I think Gibbs is going to take more of a primary role this year, but I mean, they're just a really good team. They don't have Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator anymore,
Right.
So you expect a little bit of regression.
I'm sure
but they're still going to be.
I definitely see maybe a slow start to the year, followed by just as they find their footing. They have just such an embarrassment of riches, as you noted. They could definitely run away with the division there. Still some interesting teams in the NFC North. Obviously, we've seen some clips surfacing lately of Caleb Williams struggling in training camp. Do you buy those, or do you think it's too early to, panic?
I hesitate to put much stock into training camp videos, but I hesitate to put much stock into training camp videos that make someone look good. When a player's looking bad in training camp, I'm like, bro, you've got like unathletic coaches guarding your wide receivers. Get the ball to the guy. Caleb Williams does not impress me that much.
Right.
He might be all right, but like the Bears, 6 wins. Okay, good job. You did it again, Chicago.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a lot of hope. There's always hope in Chicago, it seems, no matter who's the quarterback. Obviously, the fact he was the number 1 overall pick last year, had a season that was maybe a little lackluster, definitely not up to snuff for Bears fans. Obviously, you bring in Ben Johnson. There's a hope there. I have noticed that Johnson seems to kind of hold his players to high standards. I'm not sure of how Williams responds to that, because I think that's ultimately what's going to determine how many wins this team gets.
Right.
Okay. Another young quarterback in the North with the superior, I think, even to Johnson, though we'll wait and see, really, this year, quarterback whisperer in Kevin O'Connell. Do you see JJ showing up? Do you see him taking some time to develop? I know he's got pretty much the excellent personnel that Darnold had to work with last year. What are your thoughts for McCarthy?
Yeah, he's going to be like first. It's a tough league. First year starting, he's going to have a good year. But what does a good year for a first year starter look like? Like 8 wins.
Right.
Okay. And like I'm not running the math on this. Like to 6 wins for the Lions, 8 wins for the Vikings, or 6 wins for the Bears, 8 wins for the Vikings, 10 wins for the. What does that all make sense? Maybe not, but
Yeah, sure.
you get the gist
do.
of what I'm thinking with the rankings in that division.
Well, the NFC North has a difficult schedule. I think they play the NFC West this year, and they do play the AFC North. Obviously, that's going to be really challenging. Obviously, that's John's division, but that's going to be tough. And I think you're definitely going to see a bit of fallback from last year. You had, what was it, 3 teams combining or with at least 11 wins in that division. Just outrageous. I think it's the best regular season division result ever. So you see some, consistency, probably a 500 team though.
Yeah, and that's not reason for Vikings fans to freak out.
Not at all.
You've got your young quarterback, if he can get you 8 wins in his first year, and you've got weapons with Jefferson and then Addison when he comes back from suspension. That's a good year. I wouldn't be displeased about that.
I'd agree. Heading back out west, do you think this is the last shot for Kyler Murray in Arizona? Every year we hear all this hype for him. This is the year. It's all predicated, I think, on that 2021 season where they started out undefeated through the first 9 or 10 games. Is this it for him? He shows flashes. Doesn't seem to pan out, though.
I don't even know. I forgot the Cardinals exist. Everyone was so hyped on them last year with Marvin Harrison Jr. And they were just, I think, noted fantasy savant Matthew Berry has a ride or die player that he selects every year. And last year was Kyler Murray, and everyone was all in on him because he can run, and he's got Marvin Harrison Jr. And there were a few games, where he chucks the ball up and Marv catches it, but it was really just unimpressive. Is this the last year of his contract?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it might be. They might be a quarterback hunting come April.
Yeah. Well, I would tend to agree. They have this head coach, I should say, who appears to be kind of just clueless when you see him in public. I think he's a decent coach, all things considered, but he is defensive minded. I think this is it for Kyler in Arizona. Whether or not he pans out, it's going to be heavily determined by, as we noted earlier, the health of Christian McCaffrey and Matthew Stafford. Going to the Giants, because we already covered the East, but I thought it'd be worth noting that there is a bit of a logjam in the QB room in New York. We've got the drafted rookie who they're expecting a lot out of, Jackson Dart. You've got old standby Russell Wilson. You've got Tommy DeVito back for one last run at glory. And then who else did they get? They got someone else. Not worth mentioning. Doesn't really matter.
Did you say Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston. He's literally the most fun guy in the entire room.
Brian Dable, if you're watching this, put Jameis Winston in. America needs this.
It's the only way they'll get viewers. Yeah. So how soon do you think Jackson Dart starts a game this year?
Week 6.
Wow. Okay. So do you see maybe Russ starting out the year, Jameis taking over?
I think they said Russ is going to start.
Oh, okay. I didn't even catch that. All right. Well,
and they're going to struggle with mediocrity like we saw in Pittsburgh for 5 or 6 weeks. And then Brian Dable's going to be like, oh, I like coaching in the NFL with the salary. I really need to try out my new young talent.
Right.
Just throw the ball to Malik Neighbors. That's the Giants' strategy. Occasionally hand it off to Tracy. It doesn't get much more complicated than that.
Yeah, well, if anyone's on the hot seat this year, it is Dable. It's definitely a thing to keep an eye on out there. I think Dart might be his last shot at redemption. All right, that more or less covers up the NFC. We will circle back with some questions, some contentious potentially questions later on. But of course, I forgot to ask you. Who do you have winning the NFC?
The Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh my gosh!
Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Good segue. Jeez.
The whole thing, NFC Championship?
Just the NFC Championship, yeah. Not the Super Bowl, NFC Championship.
Green Bay Packers.
Wow. Okay, so let's just quickly take a gander at the NFC Championship, NFC playoffs. Based off of your rankings, we would see them in the first week go to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucs. That would be a shootout if your prediction for.
We're talking 52-49 at the end.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I could see it. You got just receivers running.
And then knowing how football works, the final score would be 17-14.
All right. Well, so that would see them through Tampa Bay going into a divisional round game against, let's be honest, probably Philly. Do they get revenge for last year's playoff exit going back to Philly?
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. Philly's going to try doing the same thing they did all year. And we've seen it so many times with the defending Super Bowl champs where they just run through the regular season. They get to the playoffs. You saw it with the Lions last year. They weren't the defending Super Bowl champs, but they just run through and then they get surprised by this high offense-powered juggernaut, and Packers are going to take it from them. I don't even think it's going to be that close.
All right. Repeat of Washington and Detroit last year. Obviously, as a Packers fan, you remember 2011 when, after winning the Super Bowl, they cruised to a 15-1 record before getting bounced by the Giants in the first round. So yeah, this is something that we definitely see a lot of repeatability with. All right, so Green Bay, they take down Philly in the divisional, and then that would pit them against probably LA or Detroit, or sorry, LA, most likely.
I've actually got San Fran in that spot.
All right, so them beating San Fran, that would be an all-time classic matchup, a repeat of their NFC Championship game from, I think,
I mean, how many
2020?
times have the Packers lost to the 49ers in the last 10 years in the playoffs?
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ugly.
But that was Aaron Rodgers. He's old and washed. He's off on his darkness retreat. He'll be in the offseason. We don't need his demons. Jordan Love, new face, no curse of the 49ers, gets it done.
And Jordan Love had the 49ers on the ropes 2 years ago with a squad of, at the time, nobodies.
Yeah.
Had him right where he wanted them last year. Obviously, 49ers were dealing with some injuries, but it was a blowout at Lambeau. I think it was 38-10 at the final. Yeah, so that's definitely interesting.
Well, no, Jordan Love, it was close.
Last year at Lambeau?
2 years ago,
2
after
years ago.
McCaffrey scored the winning touchdown
Oh, yeah.
late.
Yeah, it was 24-21 was the final.
Yeah.
They had him right there the whole time. So I definitely, he doesn't seem to have the same demons as he mentioned with Rodgers. So we can only hope. So Green Bay winning the NFC. That is quite the homer prediction from a Packer fan.
I knew people were going to say that.
Yeah, well, it's excellent clickbait. So let's segue over to the AFC. So John, let's start in your favorite division, the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they acquired Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, who's been a little bit of a firebrand, a little bit dicey, but they got rid of a way more of a firebrand in George Pickens, shipping him off to Dallas. Do you think that this team, which is so consistent, they've been over 500 for just a bajillion years now, do you think their consistency is affected negatively or positively by these big offseason shakeups?
I honestly don't see it changing too much. The coaching's great.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin never fails.
Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers is going to be mid.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People talk about Aaron Rodgers from like last year with the Jets, and everyone's hyping him up and be like, oh, he wasn't that bad. And I was like, well, that's just because you saw him in a Jets uniform, and the Jets QBs have set the bar so low over the years that, I mean, are we really surprised that because he's putting up these pretty average numbers, like everyone's treating him like God? Like, that's a fair point. So you see just the coaching puts him in this place. He was kind of a diva last year. I mean, when has he not been? But you don't see him being the head man. You think Tomlin puts his foot down and continues the tradition of consistency. Okay. That's
Tomlin's going to do what he does.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be a 500 team.
Yeah, I can see that.
9-8.
All right. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I forgot to ask you your playoff predictions. You noted them being a 500 team. The difference between 8-9 and 9-8 could potentially mean the difference between whether or not they make the playoffs. Let's hear your wildcard teams in the AFC.
Wild card teams.
7 through 5.
7 through 5. Gotta go backwards.
Yes, indeed.
Put me on the spot. So I honestly think for the number 7, I think the Jags are going to squeak in.
I love to hear it. We need some Jags.
There's a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and I think he's due.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got these acquisitions with Travis Hunter. You already have the stud in Brian Robinson. Didn't want to hijack your predictions, but continue. Number 6.
Number 6, I have the Raiders.
Okay, wow. It's a Pete Carroll love. Love to see it. All right.
Gino's going to ball out.
I don't hate it. I like that.
Clickbait alone. All right, I love this. Number 5.
Number 5, I have the Bengals.
Okay, I think that's probably.
I don't think they're going to win their division, but they'll hopefully start off better than they did the past 2-3 years.
You would expect it. It's hard not to at this point. Number 4, last place divisional champ.
I'm going to have to go with the Texans.
All right, yeah, that's pretty standard, I think.
They're pretty. I don't think they did too much in the offseason, but
they're solid. They've got good defense. CJ Stroud's decent enough. Yeah.
Number 3, I have the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. I don't think they're gonna be outstanding, but they win close games.
That's true. Yeah. It is interesting to see maybe how that Super Bowl loss affects them. Have they lost a Super Bowl in their recent run of success ever? Have they ever had to respond to that? We'll have to wait and see. That's going to be really interesting. Number 2.
Number 2, the Ravens.
All right.
Their offense is unbelievable. Their defense is fairly solid. I honestly think they're gonna give number 1 a run for their money for sure. I was tossed up between the Ravens and the Bills.
Right, and the Bills obviously would fill out number 1, I'm assuming. Yes. All right. So yeah, we've got Josh Allen. I don't know if he married Haley Steinfeld, yet or not. But he, we'll see what that does to him, because sometimes marriage is just a magical, force. It can do wonders for quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers got married.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
All right. So yeah, we covered Pittsburgh. You do not have the LA Chargers in here, and I know some Chargers fans that are going to be pretty displeased. I kind of love to see you're not buying the hype with Herbert, because every year, what do we hear? Herbert's a stud. Herbert's going to get it done. Herbert is the Lord. Like, it's just outrageous what we see. And, and consistently now, he's failed to live up to the hype. He might get his team into the playoffs, and they lose in the first round. Last year was the debacle in Houston. You're not buying the hype in LA.
Not at all.
All right.
Their defense was absolutely solid last year, and offense just couldn't get it.
Yep, and that's the Achilles heel. Harbaugh worked wonders at Michigan, but man, he got to the NFL, still solid, not good enough to get it done. All right, so you are a Bengals fan.
I am.
I've got a lot of questions about Cincy for you. Obviously, our local team here in Northern Kentucky. So, how does Cincy recover after 2 years of not making the playoffs? You have them as your 5 seed, probably squeaking in there. Obviously, as a 5 seed, they're probably going to have 11 or 12 wins. What do they do differently this year?
Better start.
All right.
If they get a better start, I can't see, even if their defense is as atrocious as it was last year.
Right, and that is the question.
The offense is the same.
Right.
The offense is still the paramount in the NFL.
Right. It's true. I mean, when they were making that run last year late, obviously they had that slow start, but I always said, like, if this team gets in the playoffs, they are dangerous. Like, you do not want to face them. I think the Bills were thanking their lucky stars that they got to play Pittsburgh up in Buffalo. Pittsburgh couldn't do anything. So I'd like to continue on the Bengals, though, because you cited the excellence of the offense. However, defense does still play a role. Despite throwing for over 4,900 yards, 43 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions last year, Cincy's defense sucked. So really, I think the determining factor in whether or not they make the playoffs, certainly whether or not they get the 5 seed, is whether the Bengals defense or Burrow's play regresses more. Because if it's the defense regressing, that's a good thing. And I can see them absolutely not only getting that 5 seed, but contending for the division title. Do you think it's the defense going to improve, or do you think Burrow slides off? Because Burrow's probably going to slide off a little, but the defense, it's hard to beat.
At this point, I think the defense can't get any worse.
Exactly.
It was absolutely terrible last year.
And they fired Lou Anarumo and got Al Golden. So.
And we got Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. They've been top quarterback, wide receiver the past 2-3 years or whatever.
Yeah, it's
not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Chase Brown as well he's been outstanding. Going 4 or 5 yards a carry.
Screwed me in fantasy last year. Yep. So all right.
And I just picked up Noah Fant as well.
Oh yeah, that's gonna turn the tables.
Another weapon.
Yes, indeed. Well, they did retain T. Higgins. I mean, that's definitely big for them. All right, so love to see it. KC, I think you had that slotting in at your 3 seed. A little bit of a setback from last year when they got the 1. They did not deserve the 1 last year, and Chiefs fans will, raise hell over my saying that. But the fact of the matter is, they squeaked by in countless games. You see them though as the 3 seed, still respectable, probably winners of 12 or 13 games. They're getting Rashee Rice back. They lost him last year. Do they ride his return to glory? What do you see that team ending up as? I'm going to ask you, where do you see them bowing out, if at all, in the playoffs?
In the playoffs? They'll win first round.
Okay.
Second round, I think they're going to lose.
They get bounced into the divisional. All right, and they would they would probably be playing on the road, or no, they would they would be playing on the road, probably against the 2 seed. So,
like at this point, that team has so much playoff experience. Like I can't see them choking in the first round.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean we saw Kelsey last year definitely struggle a bit. Certainly for the bar he had set for himself over the years prior. I don't know. Does that fall continue for him? Does he stay steady? Does he plateau?
I can't see him being as good as he was 2 years ago.
Right.
I don't think he's going to be much better than last year. I think he's 37.
Yeah, he's up there. Bro's old man.
To the end of his days, I think.
If he ties the knot with his his girlfriend, at some point, you might see some of that Haley Steinfeld effect creep into his play, so you never know what's possible. All right.
Let's hope.
For the Chiefs.
Can it be over?
Maybe if they get bounced in the divisional, that's when the breakup occurs. We can never know for sure, though. So the AFC West, let's stay right there. You have the Las Vegas Raiders and Pete Carroll claiming not the 7 seed, but the 6 seed. That is, I love to hear it, right? Got to get that Vegas love. This is coming from a guy. How many times have you been to Vegas?
Twice now.
Wow. So you love the fan base? You love the people there? Love the ambiance?
The ambiance, honestly.
Yeah. All right.
The environment.
Of course. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I love to hear it. That's crazy because everyone's hyping up, obviously, Denver. We saw Bo Nix play way above expectation last year. You see them not making the playoffs, though.
So this is the way I see it. So same kind of with Jaden Daniels. So I'm looking at it as I'm kind of looking at these Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels. They're going to look like C.J. Stroud.
Right.
And then the second year, I think they're going to mellow down. They'll still be decent, but I don't think...
Kind of like a Pittsburgh level.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And then finally, you have the Jags in the 7 spot. I'm guessing it's all hinged. They acquired the weirdo Liam Cohen as their head coach, but they have Travis Hunter and whatever his race, Brian Robinson Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Robinson, obviously being in Washington. I mean, there are few better wide receiver duos in the NFL. I'm guessing that's a huge part of why you picked.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's just so much pressure on Trevor Lawrence. I think last year he was dealing with that pressure a lot, but this year I think he's settled in and he's actually going to perform the way most people think he will.
All right, so ran into a few difficulties there. Let's continue with the AFC. Jon giving us his expert rundown for each and every team. The only team we didn't touch on before everything went south was the team in the AFC South, the Houston Texans. What are your thoughts on Houston this year? Obviously, DeMeco Ryans brings competent defense to the fore, as he does every year. C.J. Stroud, he showed his baseline last year. It was still good enough for a divisional round appearance and a competent showing, I would say, against KC in the divisional round. What are your thoughts on Houston?
Honestly, I think C.J. Stroud's going to get beat up again.
Okay.
Sacked 52 times last year, which is... it's hard to run an offense when you're doing...
I couldn't name a player on that offensive line. It's sketchy for sure. Yeah, I don't even know how much work they did to bolster it either.
I don't think they did any.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's honestly awful. Right, so you see this team still be good enough to win the AFC South, edging out the Jags, but ultimately it's only good enough for the 4 seed, similar to last year, and them probably. What are your thoughts for where they end up in the playoffs? Is it similar to the Chiefs divisional round, or do they get bounced in the wild card?
I think they get bounced in the wild card.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a reasonable assessment. They'll be playing one of these wild card teams with their hair on fire, possibly your Bengals, for instance. So that'll be very interesting. Who do you have winning finally the AFC?
The AFC, I have the Bills winning.
You have the Bills winning the AFC. Fantastic. Haley Steinfeld is going to bring new life to Josh Allen. Wow. dad power is real. Well, we don't know if he'll be a dad at that point.
Yet or no?
They're married.
Yeah, they tied the knot, so that's obviously very exciting for him. There's been some contract issues with James Cook. Do you think those will be resolved by the start of the season?
I honestly thought I heard that they were resolved.
Okay, well, yeah, and I haven't been super up to date with that. You better hope so, because Ray Davis is the backup, and that guy is sketch. I had him on my fantasy team last year. What did he give me? He gave me 2.3 in the first round of the playoffs. What a freaking joke.
To be fair, running back or not, Josh Allen can do just as well.
He carries his team. Yep.
This is true.
If Josh Allen's healthy, I think they're going to dominate.
All right, so obviously I'm a little shocked by your AFC pick. We thought because Homer Boy over here picked his Packers to win the NFC, we thought you would do the same with the Bengals. You ultimately chose what I think is the more astute route, going with the Bills. Where do you think the Bills or the Bengals get bounced here in the playoffs?
I bet they lose in the AFC Championship.
All right, wow. So the Bills finally get over the hump, get to the Super Bowl. Have they been to the Super Bowl? Yeah, I think they'll. Yeah, with what's his face? We don't remember. That was like in the 80s. Yeah, so the Bills get back. That would set up, if your predictions hold true, a Bills-Packers Super Bowl. Two small markets, two, frankly, fanatic fan bases. That would be a great Super Bowl. Two northern teams. Where's the Super Bowl this year? Do you guys know? Somewhere south. They're going to travel. They don't care. Bills Mafia is going to show up in force. Cheeseheads will be everywhere. That would be a fantastic matchup. Probably offensive fireworks. I'm not sure I trust the Bills defense. And as Dominic has pointed out so often, I'm not sure I trust the Packers defensive backs. So that game could definitely be high scoring. We don't know what that final would look like. But as you're the AFC expert, what's your pick?
Bills, for sure.
All right. Do you have a score prediction?
Score prediction, it's going to be high scoring.
All right.
If it gets in, I'd say 36 to 32.
All right. I like the sound of that. Well, no, I don't like who won. I like the high scoring aspect. DC, what are your thoughts?
I actually agree. I think the Bills would take it.
All right. Haley Steinfeld, Bills MVP 2025.
And there is no one more deserving than Josh Allen. And the Bills. Like, if you want to talk, I mean, obviously I grew up in Wisconsin and I love the Packers, but if you want to talk about fans I respect and admire, it's Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
So it would hurt, but I could live with it. It's not a team I hate. It's not the Chiefs. It's not the Eagles. I respect the Bills.
Well, they're not jumping through plastic tables. They're showing up in mass to shovel snow at Highmark Stadium over there in Orchard Park. That wraps up the Super Bowl predictions. In Week 6, Jon's Cincinnati Bengals travel to Lambeau Field. Obviously, that's going to be a very contentious contest between your guys' favorite franchises. How outraged are you guys that this game isn't in primetime? On a scale of 1 to 10. We'll start with Jon.
I could care less, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's slated for the late afternoon.
I think
so
the
you'll still get
Bengals are relevant, but the Packers I don't think are going to be super relevant for primetime this year.
All right. Well, they've got quite a plethora of primetime games. I don't love that take. DC, are you pissed that it's not being in primetime?
No, I couldn't care less. Yeah. That means an earlier bedtime. You said it's late afternoon?
Yeah.
That's dinner hour. Like, great. Yeah. Well, eat some wings, eat some nachos, drink some beers.
I will be
It'll be a fun time.
Covington for that game, possibly joined by these two clowns. We don't know what's going to happen. Finally, we have covered the season as a whole. Are there any fantasy sleepers, and this is kind of a bonus, that either of you guys have to offer up to the hungry public?
I think.
So you're just talking about someone no one's talking about.
Not necessarily, but maybe someone who's maybe not ranked quite as high as you think they should be going in. Not necessarily a no-name by any means. Someone who can contribute early on a roster.
Chuba Hubbard.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Why is that funny?
Fantastic last year. I honestly don't know a lot about the Panthers, but I'd imagine they made some improvements.
You would hope.
You would hope.
All right.
But
yeah.
I think the reason why he even did, he did great last year in fantasy, but he had a crappy team. Right. His defense was on the field most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. He had to carry the absolutely terrible Bryce Young for the first part of the year. Now, Bryce Young picked it up, not to the extent that you would think based off all the sports punditry I'm hearing. It's like, oh, Bryce Young balled out. It's very similar to the discourse surrounding Rodgers' time in New York. Ultimately, I think Bryce Young played just well enough to keep his job for this year. We'll see how he plays. Obviously, Chuba Hubbard, though, was a solid contributor on that offense, and he should look to get a lot more carries.
Brewers home run. Let's go. Sorry for the sidebar. Mine's Adam Thielen.
Wow, Minnesota boy. All right.
Also a Panthers player.
Wow.
And people are like, he's old and boring. That's lame. I don't care. Early on, people keep hyping up Tet McMillan. He's going to be good, but it's going to take a few weeks.
Yeah.
If you're looking for someone to kickstart your season, you're in a guillotine league trying to stay alive, grab Adam Thielen. He's going to be a solid target for at least the first 4 or 5 weeks.
He's old and white, but man, Bryce Young loves throwing the ball to him. And honestly, he's definitely shown consistency throughout the course of his career. He's old now, like I said, but he's as reliable as they come. So that's definitely interesting. 2 fantasy sleepers, both from the Carolina Panthers. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. This was obviously a pleasure. We'll have to do this again sometime. And until then, have a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was great.